So we stood up, started getting his kit on, turned around, talked to the rest of the guys, get the kit on, follow me boys, let's go. Jamie set off with his metal detector. I could see his footprints in the sand, so I'm looking where he's going, looking what the boys are doing, looking round. Left it at Jamie, go right of it Jamie, went about 3 metres forward, and then stepped on the IED device.
Welcome to Your Arm Podcast, me, John Lebbon, Gavin Donaldson, and the legend Andy Reid. Andy, this is the best lads pad I think I've ever been in.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? Little man cave, come and escape from the 7 and 2 year old, and have a bit of time by myself in here and get the lads around for a bit of ale, knocking about as you can see. So
it's always a good mix, isn't it? Alcohol, guns, and stuff like that.
Yeah, alcohol, guns, there's a crossbow there in that case. So yeah, it gets quite entertaining sometimes on a Friday, Saturday night when lads are around. Yeah.
And a telescope gathering dust.
Yeah, like, it's one of the things, make myself look a bit more intelligent, get the telescope, tend to know what I'm doing.
But what we normally do this, Andy, if you go back to when you were younger, what was it like for a young Andy Reid growing up in this area, wasn't it, or was it the Whittle?
Yeah, no, I've got posh, so I moved to Rainford. I'm not from this area, yeah. I'm from Forshaw, really, Liverpool originally, born in Birkenhead. My dad got a job in a cinema as a projectionist, so I moved across to St Helens when I was about 7. But yeah, life was alright, mate, when I was young, you know what I mean? I didn't have the best times in school and stuff like that. I was in a car crash when I was 7, and 5, broke my leg in 3 places when I was 5, and I kind of got passed around a bit of the family, a little bit. My dad was still working, my mum was in hospital, she got a bit of an head injury, so I missed a fair bit of schooling, and I think back in the day then, things like dyslexia weren't really picked up on. I think if you're messing about in school, you're just seen as disruptive, weren't you, and sent outside. And
I was in that class as well. Yeah. You were everyone was labelled the same, weren't it? Thick class, wasn't it? There's no like dyslexia, ADHD
and stuff like that. And the old chalkboard they used to have, and the teacher would be writing on there, wouldn't they? And then I'd be copying me word for word, probably letter for letter sometimes on some big words like factory and stuff like that, And then next thing they'd move the board, and then I'd be 2 or 3 sentences behind, and I'd just think, what's the point? And then I'd just start messing about, So got a bit better at secondary school, a little bit better. I got expelled from secondary school in the 3rd year, again, just for messing about and being disruptive. Nothing really naughty as what we maybe see nowadays at schools, more just being disruptive, maybe, messing about, and they asked me to leave. But from an early age, at 10, 11, I knew I was going to join the armed forces. So school, I weren't really that bothered about, to be honest. I thought, keep myself super fit, play a bit of rugby, do some cross country, keep myself fit, and join the army. So I weren't that bothered about maths and English and that stuff anyway, really.
But you didn't join the army until you were about, was it 21, 22, something like that? Because you can join.
Some research, this lad, mate. Hey.
It's not just the porn stars that do the research for. How come you didn't join? Because what's the youngest you can join the army? Is it 16, 17?
Yeah, 16, yeah. So I tried joining at 16, so I left school, went down to the Army Careers Office in St Helens there, and knocked on the door. Big guy come. He had a big red sash on his chest, a couple of stripes on his arm. Didn't really go down very well when I called him mates and that. The door told me he was a sergeant, so I thought that's best be how I address him. And I went in, and I wanted to join the local regiment, which was the Queen's Lancashire Regiment, infantry unit. So we did a couple of tests. First of all, a quick test on the computer, which was multiple choice test. So I was happy with that. Makes things a bit easier. It was A, B, C, D. Got myself through that. And then went for the medical, and I was 5'11" at the time, and about 9.5 stone. And they said, unfortunately, you're underweight for your height.
Right.
You're going to have to go away and put some weight on, which is not something that I even knew was a criteria from wanting to join at like 10, 11 years old. If I would have knew about that, maybe I could have stopped running around and ate more pies or whatever. But, so I had to go away and put a bit of weight on. So I went away and did a job labouring on a building site for carrying bags of sand and cement round, doing a bit of curbing, get me a bit bigger, a bit stronger. And then got in with a bit of a wrong crowd for a bit and started doing some things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. Took my mum's car for a drive, and I didn't have a licence, and I crashed it in town. I was going the wrong way, and then I thought, I need to really join the armed forces and get myself in there and get myself sorted. So got a job in a sausage factory. That helped put a bit of weight on. Weren't ideal, but it did help. And then I got a job as a forklift truck driver. I was on the dole at 18, and they think they give you like an extra £10 a week if you go and did your forklift truck driving licence or whatever. So I went and did that, got a job as a forklift truck driver, doing 4 days on, 4 days off, 12-hour shifts at a factory in Haydock down the road there. And then on the 4 days off, I went to a local council gym, and there happened to be this ex-Royal Marine there. He was one of the physical training instructors down there. Said to him, I want to join the army. Said, right, I'll do your programme, come and see me on your 4 days off. So I went and seen him, and he put a programme in place for me, told me what to eat and how to work out and what to do. And 21, I achieved that goal of joining the army. This will be 5 years from being 16.
Did you still have that goal through the 5 years, or did it take seeing that guy and being inspired maybe by him to...
Well, yeah, my granddad there, you can make him out in the background there, got his medals there, he went over the Second World War, so he was a big inspiration for me for joining the army as well. He used to tell me stories and stuff like that.
Whereabouts did he
He went everywhere. He went Italy, Egypt, Battle of Toulouse.
My granddad was, Alamein.
He was there, Normandy, and all that, you know. But he was deaf. It was funny. I remember going around there on Sunday for Sunday dinner, and he'd go round and wrestling would be on. Big Daddy, you know, Earl Crabtree's granddad, I think it was. Giant Air Stacks, Big Daddy, and you'd be watching that one, and then we'd all be running around, and you just see him turn his hearing aids off because he was deaf as a post. He was in a tank regiment all through war. Right. So he'd just turn his hearing aids off, and he'd be sat there watching it, oblivious to what was going on.
Every cloud
running around him and that, But big inspiration for me for joining the army. So although I did go off the rails a little bit, and I could have gone in a totally different direction, I just thought, you know, you've got a chance here to sort yourself out and see the world. So I just like refocused on that and worked hard, and I managed to get in. Just unfortunately, I had to go to Wigan for joining as a Saints fan. Not the best place. I like going really Wigan, but that's where I joined the armed forces. Yeah, so probably why I went downhill from that day on. Wigan, yeah. But,
was there a specific sort of vocation in the army, or was it?
I didn't really have much idea.
You just were keen to join it.
I just wanted to join, And then when that guy said initially, I said to him, "What are you in?" He said, "I'm in the Queen's Lancashire Regiment Infantry." I said, "That sounds right, yeah." And it was very encouraged to join your local regiment. You know, you do a test and you get results, and they're pretty tell you what you're joining. You know, aircraft engineer weren't at the top of my list. You know, infantry, paras, Marines was probably chef. We're probably down there. No one's ever passed that course in the army. It's really hard course, the chef's course in the army. No one passes that. But so I thought, well, join my local regiment, and then at least when I want to come home at weekend, you know, there's lads from St Helens, lads from Wigan going to be there, lads from Burnley, you know, and obviously they have a common interest of supporting Saints and being into rugby league. If you could join a regiment from down south, you know, getting home at weekends, or they'll be all into football, won't they, rather than rugby. So you're best joining your local regiment, really.
And it's weird because when we were growing up, people who joined the army, there was always like two groups. There was ones like yourself who had a relative that was pushing towards it, and then you had ones you wouldn't trust with a ham sandwich. Do you know what I mean? So there was a real mix of people going in that army. You know, you think, going to give him a machine gun, really? Do you know what I mean? When you're doing your training, do they get whittled off pretty quickly, or is it one of them you just make them better?
Yeah, them lads from yours would have been in the King's Royal Border Regiment, and I've got some good mates who's been in there, and they actually then got amalgamated to become part of the regiment that I was in. Right. Moving forward, one and two lanks now is the QLR, the Kingos, and KRVR are 1 and 2 lanks now. But yeah, them guys get caught out quite quickly. You know, you need to be fit, you need to have some common sense and some life skills about you. Pretty much everything else they can teach you. Living in the field, weapon systems, those kind of drill, iron your kit can be taught, can't it? But you need fitness and you need common sense, pretty much, and then you'll get through. So some join, and then they fall by the wayside, don't they? And they start getting caught out and recognised for not being really top of the game or what they could be. And some, it's a bit tough. It's the first time they might be away from home. You know, they might have lived at home, and if they join at 6, I was 21, you see, so. I'd done jobs, and I'd been a labourer. I'd done some like really rubbish job. I did a job once where you're walking around selling tea towels. You know,
but a bit of life experience.
I was doing lots of me at some stages, and you do what you do to earn a bit of money, don't you? You knock people's doors, say, "Do you want to buy some tea towels?" and you get door slammed in your face. So I probably had a bit more life experience than some of these young lads at 16 who they're getting shouted at. You're in the woods. It's raining. It's freezing cold. they're like, this is not for me, you know. But then you think, well, actually, you're going to get weekend off, mate, and you're getting paid pretty good money just to be sat in the wood getting cold, you know. So I could see that the grass weren't greener on the other side, where some young lads at 16, 17 thought, it's got to be better than this. And like, not really for this.
You'd have took your mum with you, wouldn't you, on basic training?
Get it in your bed.
Yeah, she wouldn't let you go by yourself either.
It's always tough with them young lads as well, because they'll go and do a couple of months and they'll just spunk the money as soon as they come back, because the lads we know in the army, they'll come back, they would have their wallet full and it'd be gone by the end of the weekend. You think, you've just done 3 months or whatever and you spent all your money. No, they didn't seem to really think forward, like, or maybe keep half of it for a car or something like that. Or
I know, but it was like weekend millionaire. You were a week. No, you come home and if you spent all your mum's wages in that first weekend, you're still going to get fed and water for the rest of the month. So it's not like the civilian world where you got to buy your shopping and try and make it last you each month, like all month. If you spent all your money at the beginning of the month, that first weekend millionaire, because you're still getting fed and water, you still got a roof over your head, and you can't go on the beer. Or a lot of the lads will buy, like you said, they're going to buy a new Technics Hi-Fi for like 400 quid, go on the piss, and then 2 weeks later, he wants to buy this for 100 quid because I want to go piss for a weekend. And you're like, mate, that cost you 400 quid last week. And like, yeah, I know, but I want to go piss. Like, happy days, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? So a lot of that went on as well, and lads buying new cars and then like flogging them and whatever. Yeah, it's a good time. I really enjoy my time, you know, in the army. And then in training as well. Training was always a good crack. You're learning a lot, but everyone's in the same boat one day. You're all learning new things, and a bit of banter and a bit of a laugh and dragging each other through. And you know, it's always about helping each other all the time. And so one lad was really good at ironing, but couldn't polish his boots for toffee. You know, then he'd iron everyone's kit, and someone else would do his boots for him, or someone else would make his bed for him and stuff. So we're all working with a team really, so you could all get each other through that training situation. Yeah, it's good crack.
Sounds like you've done it for the right reasons though, because like you said,
some people just got to go to come get a job, and they're the ones that like go on it for 2 years and they go
maybe a cultural thing as well from where
if they get a girlfriend, normally if they get a girlfriend outside of the army, they think, oh no, I need to leave now. So
it was never the sporty guys, it was never just the majority of the time from our area, wasn't it? Like you say, it was a means to an end, whereas you've joined for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know,
the same with St Helens. You know, a big mining town back in the day. Once it's St Helens Glass, Pilkinson's was a massive employer, and then they started dropping away on this. So employment's not happening very much. So where do you go if you haven't got them 5 GCSEs? What you need? The army is a good option at the end of the day. You know, you can learn some great skills, and
but you've got to want to do it.
You've got to want to do it. You got in the back of your mind when you're being shouted and screamed at, you're doing an 8 mile tab and it's snowing. You've got to want to be there.
Yeah.
If you don't 100% want to be there, you are going to start dropping back. Then you'll start failing stuff. Then you'll just get rid of you.
I think I'd have started crying. Just literally, what would have happened if you just stood and just started crying?
Back then, you probably would have got clipped round the ear. I think now, I'd probably come and see you and give you some sweets, and you'd be alright.
Maybe a good thing that I didn't.
The recruitment advert for the army, I always find bizarre on the telly, because it comes across a bit like. It's always like the places you go, the people. It sounds like an 18 to 30s rep, doesn't it? You know, it sounds like there's very little mention of the army on it.
It was
the dangers.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're not gonna show you guys like myself getting like 3 limbs blown off on a stretcher and go, do you want to join?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to be Andy, or do you want to be Dave sat here on the beach having a pina colada with all these birds cutting about? Well, I don't want to join that bit. I'll join that bit over there. But it is like that, you know. 1999, I joined 97, so 99, got the chance to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, right.
You know, so I spent all over Africa for 3 weeks, climbed the 3rd highest mountain in the world. I wouldn't not have done that still driving that forklift truck in Haydock, or working in that sausage factory, or being a labourer. You know what I mean? Even as an average guy who had a decent job. Back then, I think the opportunities now to climb Kilimanjaro, you can do it for charity, can't you, for about $3,000, can't you? But back then, you're talking like, I don't know, 20 odd years ago, it was something that wealthy people did, wasn't it? Back then, you know. So
we never went past Benidorm, them sort of days. No one's going Africa in them days.
So to go and get the chance to go and do that, do you know what I mean? It was absolutely phenomenal for me, really. And probably really got me then, within my first 18 months of being in the armed forces, I climbed the 3rd highest mountain in the world. That's me going, wow, this is mega.
Yeah.
Send me wherever else you want, I'm not bothered, because I've just done that, and I've got more opportunities to go and do other things as well. You know, I went and did I walked through the Grand Canyon from one side to the other.
Right.
So I spent 3 weeks in Vegas. You know, thanks to the amazing taxpayers, that was mega. You know, that's what, you're not just buying fighter jets and ammunition. You know, you're sending me on beer to Vegas, so that's mega. So like a week in Vegas, a week walking through Grand Canyon, another week in Vegas to get over walking through the Grand Canyon, and then back to the UK. So these opportunities, you know, are absolutely amazing, aren't they? My 30th birthday in the centre of Grand Canyon, on the beer drinking Budweiser.
Yeah.
You know, them things don't happen to people like ourselves.
It's better than material possessions, isn't it? Than memories. I can
I
imagine.
had a set of snowshoes just down the side of there that I bought in when I went to a place called Dawson City. You watch that Ice Road Truckers?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I drove down Mackenzie River, spent like about 4 weeks up there with some Canadian Rangers. They've now to build like snow houses and hoochies, like shelters, and do a bit of ice fishing and all that kind of stuff. Again, things that
it sounds like you've been fortunate. I've never heard these stories from anyone local.
Yeah, obviously in between that, I went to Northern Ireland for 2 years, you know, and the Oma bomb went off when I was over there. So I was living in the island about a year then, and Oma bomb went off, killed 29 people in the town centre. You know, I was shopping half an hour in the town centre before it went off.
Right.
So that was the harsh reality of what can happen. But then go to Africa, climb this mountain, happy days. You know, then come back to the UK, do a course, get promoted. That was Lance Corporal, quite an hard course, getting shouted at a lot. But then went to Canada for like 6 weeks on exercise in Canada. Again, would never have done that. You know, then went to Kosovo. That was quite steady. Really, for a peacekeeping tour in Kosovo. Iraq 2003 on the invasion of Iraq. So we went to Kuwait, and then the day the war started, across the border from Kuwait into Iraq. You know, wearing green combats in the desert, which was great fun. Sat on the back of like Bedford trucks just full of water and ammunition crossing the border, you know, on the day the war started. But then come back from there, Vegas for 3 weeks, happy days. So I've had like roller coaster of going to some places and doing the job that we are trained to do, but then doing some amazing adventure training, which I would never.
I suppose I've got to do that for morale, like you say. If you're out with the fire into the frying pan. Oh, sorry, John.
You know, press ups. Come on, that's me.
That's me with my own ringtones.
But it's they're saying the army don't volunteer for nothing, but that weren't me. I was just like, if I need 15 volunteers, I'm like, yeah, come on then. You know, it might be come pick up them fag ends up over there, or it could be right, you're going to Vegas next week. Yeah, that's mega. You know, and they always said don't volunteer for anything in the army, but I was always one.
It's always an experience.
Put your hand up, wherever it's going to be. Not going to get you pregnant, is it?
Did you never get nervous?
Go and do that. Go do that.
Were you ever nervous, like when the Iraq War started? Obviously, you're right on the front lines, but was it a bit you thinking this could potentially go wrong when you're there, or is it just sort of when you're with all your mates, you sort of nearly even forget?
You're nervous, yeah. You know, we're only human at the end of the day, aren't we? But we're highly trained, aren't we? And all the training that we do is in the most realistic environments that you could possibly do it in. You know, we use live ammunition sometimes on the ranges when we're doing that. Everything's set up to be a real battle scenario, what could actually happen. So you know the guys that are in and around you are all trained to the highest level as well. You know they all want to be there, like I said before. They're not a conscript army, and that's so you haven't got people who don't want to actually be there. Everyone who's there has joined the army. They've joined up to do this kind of thing. So you are nervous, I would say. I wouldn't say you're scared, but you've got an element of nerves. But then that gives you the edge, doesn't it? What you need, that gives you that hypersensitivity.
It's like playing rugby and stuff like that. If you're not nervous, you're not going to play well, are you? Because you got that little keeps you sharp, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's it. And it's also that mindset of not being arrogant, but it won't happen to me because I'm top of my game. I'll do all
having that self-belief,
self-belief in yourself. If you do everything you're trained to do, you'll be fine. It's not going to happen to you. And I suppose I was saying on the rugby field again, into it. You know, when you run out on that pitch, other people may get injured, don't they? But you don't, because you've conditioned yourself properly. You've done your reps, what you're supposed to do, and whatever. You've done everything you're supposed to do to get you in the best position to play that 80 minutes, haven't you? And I suppose that's the same for us. You know that. I said the other day to Watto, you know, the Salford coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I said, the theatre of war. That's what we go into. That's our stage, and it's like the theatre of dreams. When people go to Wembley, innit? That's what we can't talk about to Wembley, like the theatre of dreams. And I said, oh yeah, I've been to the theatre of war, and it's like I've never heard it mentioned that way before. But well, that's where we do our thing,
Yeah.
innit? And that's where we're trained to be that best soldier that we can possibly be at that time. All the rest is training, isn't it? And you make mistakes in training, and that's where you're supposed to make mistakes to become better. But when you're in that theatre of war, that's when everything comes into place, and you do what you've got to do, don't you?
It must be hard. It goes against the laws of nature, though, doesn't it? Putting yourself in harm's way like that, but I suppose it's ingrained in you through the training, and like you say,
Well, a bit like I said to the lads, when that talk the other week, I said, when you go to places like Afghan and Iraq and that, and you go up them front gates, like you are thinking of like Queen and country, really, supposedly, a bit in the back of your mind, but it's more you're doing it for like your cap badge. You're proud to wear that regimental cap badge.
Yeah,
and
right.
you're doing it for your mates who are stood next to you, aren't you? So that's why you put yourself in harm's way to protect your mates. And it sounds a bit crazy, but like I took like 7 guys to Afghan. I was a team leader, so I was in charge of 7 other guys. It was my job to take them out there, go on patrol every single day, and bring them back safe. And although I got injured myself, I'm quite proud of the fact that none of them did. And I took them there and I brought them all back. And so I did my job.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, as section commander, took my 7 guys onto the battlefield. We did what we had to do every single day that we were out there for 3 months we were there. And I brought them back safe. Ticking the box for me, happy days, I've done my job. And I think if one of them guys would have got injured and not myself, I'd be in a lot worse place.
Yeah.
Mentally now, maybe not physically, but mentally I'd be in a lot worse place because I wouldn't have thought, I wouldn't have felt I'd done my job to the best of my ability.
Yeah, you maybe resent yourself a little bit before.
Yeah, blame yourself, wouldn't you, for it and that. And that's all we can do, innit? Just do the best that we can do each day. And I think we do it for his mates, don't we? We do it to look after our mates. Kind of, Queen and country kind of goes out the window a little bit. You're on the ground at the time, you're looking after your mates who you're with. And also, I was 33 then, and the next guy down to me was 23, my 2IC. The rest of us were 18.
Right.
18.
Did you think of them as
you mature a lot that age, don't you, compared to an 18-year-old?
Oh yeah, first tour that them guys have been on, first time. I'm not going to say first time they've been out to Yorkshire, obviously, but first time they've been on an operational tour. So you're not just the leader either, you're not just the commander. You're also a father figure for those guys as well. Unfortunately, on their patrol, unfortunately, someone will get injured or someone will get possibly killed. So you might have to discipline them guys for not doing something right, but then you've got to put your arm around them as well and tell them everything's going to be okay. Very tough role to have there. 1 minute you're telling him off because his water bottle not 100% full of water, or he's not put fresh batteries on his metal detector, or whatever he's done, he's late, or his weapon's a bit dirty, so you're cooling him down the banks for that. And then an hour later, you've got your arm around and telling everything's going to be okay. So it is quite tough when we're over there.
On the day of the accident, was that any different than any other day? Was it just a routine check or?
Normal day, yeah. 13th October. A bit of an early patrol. It was 4:30 in the morning patrol, whereas normally they maybe like a bit later on in the day when it's got a bit cooler. But what it was I can't even say the word, a familiarisation patrol. So we only had 10 days left before we were due to leave. So another unit was coming out, so we were going to show them the local area. So we can't. We don't like get on one plane, they get on another, and we pass each other, kind of thing. They'll send what's called like an advance party. Some of their commanders, some of their officers will come out. We'll take them on patrol, show them the local area, show them where the village elders live. They're always key, show them where incidents have happened before, river crossings are. Just try and give them as much information as we possibly can about that area that they're going to be operating in then for the next 6 months. So so we went out at 4:30 in the morning, and there'd normally be about 8 people in each section. There's normally 3 sections, but there's probably about 12 in each section with these additional guys. So there were a lot of people. You're talking like 36, maybe 40 people on the patrol. You've got to walk in a straight line, all behind each other, a metre apart from each other, and you're carrying about £70 worth of kit. So it'd take a long time to get anywhere. So you imagine 36, 40 blokes walking down the road on a track in a big snake line, quite vulnerable, really, aren't you? You know, to attack really. But two sections got dropped off on a bit of high ground, do a bit of overwatch, and then I got tasked to go down to a local village and search some compounds or some houses for some weapons or bomb making equipment. So young guy in front of me, Aister, young Jamie, he had his metal detector. It's called a Valen. So he's like sweeping this from left to right as he's walking along, looking for any of these improvised explosive devices that could be on the ground. So the metal detector will beep from like 0 to 3 and then from 3 to like 10. But there's been a war in Afghan for over 100 years. You know, the Russians have been over there, haven't they, and all that stuff. So there's metal and stuff lying around everywhere. So if every time it beeps you stop, you're not going to get no words, you know what I mean? So if it goes 1 to 3, we'll have a quick look and go, yeah, right, let's crack on. If it goes above 3, then we'll investigate it a little bit further. But you can imagine he's sweeping that, so you can't go either side of him because that's not been cleared. If you stood straight behind him, if it was to stand on a device himself, then you're going to get.
Well, that's why you're in single file.
So single file, a metre apart, so you can space out. And yeah, he'd been going along. It was like I say, R4 October, so it was probably about 17, 18 degrees. In the summer, it's probably about 27, normally 35 in the afternoon. But at night time, it gets about -2. But in the as it gets more towards winter, it starts to cool down quite a bit, but still quite hot. 18 degrees with 70 pounds worth of kit on, you know, you're going along. And Jamie stopped and said, no, Reid, there's some barbed wire here. We're going to have to go a different way. I said, okay, mate, don't worry, take a knee. Look out to your front. So he got down on one knee, he probably dropped his kit off, looking out to his front. Told the rest of the guys, get some water on board, buddy system. You know, one of them's looking out for enemy, one's drinking water, working in pairs, as they do. Then I looked across to right hand side, and then there's these 3 tracks leading down towards the village. Now 2 of the tracks had no markings on whatsoever, and the 3rd track has some like motorbike tracks on it, some footprints, and some cattle markings as well. So I looked at my watch. It was on that hand at the time, and it weren't a Tagern either. It was a G10 for men. My watch still works. G10 for men. Got it off my wrist. I put my wrist in a bag or whatever, but still got the watch. Still got the watch somewhere. Still works. Don't be iron G-Shock for G-Shock. Because what you need a G10 for men. I'm usually watch to survive anything. But I looked at that. It was about 5 to 5 in the morning, and I know that that local people go to prayers at about 5 in the morning. So I'm thinking 10 to 5, quarter to 5. People generally start walking about. That track must have been used then. Night time. In October, it gets quite windy, so tracks generally get blown over. So I thought that track must have been used in the last 10-15 minutes. So I said, right, Jamie, I'm going to set off down there, pal. So he stood up, started getting his kit on, turned around, told the rest of the guys, get the kit on, follow me, boys, let's go. Jamie had set off with his metal detector. I could see his footprints in the sand, so I'm looking where he's going, looking what the boys are doing, looking round. Left it at Jamie, go right a bit, Jamie. Went about 3 metres forward, and then stepped on the IED device there. So next thing that I was aware of then, I lay on the floor on my back, big dust cloud around me, couldn't hear anything. I couldn't see very much, my mouth was all full of dust and dirt. But it was quite strange, I didn't feel like I was in pain. I felt like a some numbness on my body. You know, like a big pot forward just ran into you. Imagine like Mossy Messiah running straight into your full tilt.
Jerry Sawyer, so you got you that time.
So I knew something violent happened to me, but I weren't exactly sure what it was. Looked down, couldn't see my legs at that stage. So straight away I started thinking self-help. You know, adrenaline obviously kicks in, doesn't it? I was thinking self-help. On my first aid kit here, some morphine, some tourniquets in there. Looked across into this hand and that finger was hanging off. So I made a fist, kept hold of that finger. Looked across this arm, it was like twisted behind my back. So I knew then that I couldn't help myself, so I started shouting for a medic. So I was shouting as loud as I possibly could, but surreal, I couldn't hear myself shouting. It's quite strange. I knew I was shouting, but I couldn't hear myself shouting. Luckily, Jamie got blown forward in the blast. Took some shrapnel to his back and his behind from the device. Crawled back towards me, started giving me some morphine, started putting some tourniquets on my limbs and like basically sorting me out, you know. Then one of the guys come back from the other section, could see him speaking to me. but I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could see him. He was there speaking.
Did you hear your drums?
Yeah, they just
as well.
Yeah, just a blast had done him in. Yeah, and then I knew the guys were there. Then I knew the guys would do the job that they're trained to do. So I just closed my eyes and just thought the boys were here, and shut my eyes and drifted in and out of consciousness, kind of thing there. And they decided that rather than bring a helicopter in to our location, due to the downward pressure that helicopters cause when they land, if there was any more devices in the area, they could have gone off as well. We're only about 3 k's away from camp, so they just brought what's called a jackal armoured vehicle into our location, got me on the back of a stretcher, took me back to the main camp there, where there's a secure helicopter landing pad there, so they brought the chopper into there, got me on that, and then off I went to Camp Bastion. Yeah.
Is there any part of you just sort of...
Sounds a bit matter of fact, doesn't it? But I've like told that story like about a million times. So at the time it was obviously a lot more dire situation, and my heart was going out. But I'll probably say it. I don't know if I say it a bit matter of fact now. But
it's like you're cracking jokes with it. I can't get it's sort of you like myself. Sometimes going, my hair's not right, and no one's worse off than me on this planet. You know what I mean? Yeah, we complain about such little things. Though everyone does it. You're like, oh, I can't believe this has happened. Raina meant to have a barbecue sub. Whereas you've had this happen to you, and you're still upbeat, which is just
I think it's
different.
Sobering, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a very. I could just.
Did it give you a new thirst for life rather than being resentful?
And I've always been a bit of a character. So I've always liked a bit of humour, dark humour in the army. It gets us food on it, And I think same as in the changing rooms on a rugby pitch, isn't it? Things aren't going too well. Someone cracks a bit of a joke, everyone starts laughing, morale's up again, isn't it? And let's crack on, And I think it would be very dark if I just told that story without putting a bit of humour into it. I think
it's going to damage you emotionally if you.
And I think it's instilling people who I am, the character that I've got. That's the kind of character that I am. It's like something else happened when he was 5, broke his leg in 3 places. Didn't get into the army, got expelled from school. What next now? What other obstacles going to be thrown into the way of my life's journey? And this has just for me been another thing that's happened in the journey of my life that you've got to overcome. In that same car crash, my mum got her ankle crushed, and when I was 11, they had to amputate her leg. So I've grown up with my mum being an amputee. So for me, waking up really lost 3 limbs was hard to take, but I also thought I'm surviving, not a victim. Unfortunately, 2 guys from on one patrol that I was on lost their lives and paid the ultimate sacrifice. 7 of the guys from my unit lost their lives over in Afghan. So I thought, I'm still here, I'm going to start setting myself goals. But then I thought, my mum brought me and my 3 sisters up in a 3-storey Victorian house with no stair lift, no wet room, no nothing, and she just got on with it. So me as allegedly big tough squaddy, I best just get on with that now. It's happened, and for me, the Gambler, the Kenny Rogers, the Gambler.
The song.
My favourite song. You've been dealt your cards in life, haven't you? And you just got to play that hand you've been dealt, haven't you? And whether it's a good hand or you can blag your way through and put that poker face on and go, "Fucking hell, this is the shittest hand in the world," but I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna chance it and make the best of it, innit? And I think. That's what life's about, innit? We all get dealt our cards in life, don't we? And you just got to play the best hand that you possibly can, don't you? And it's not always the best, is it? But you make the best. You make your own luck, don't you? You make your own future, don't you?
Of course you do. We were talking on the way down, and we've said this before. You can have everything, can't you? You could be a multi-millionaire. You can have influence, whatever. But not everyone's happy, and everyone has a fight every day. And I think it takes these exceptional sort of people like yourself to inspire others just to take stock a little bit and think life isn't that bad, you know what I mean? But it is a mentality, and I think are you the exception to the rule, or is
I don't think I am. I think I've just grown up with adversity. Life's been tough, and I've had to
it's
work hard
you to help as well
to get what I want to achieve. I've had to work hard to get into the army. I had to work hard when I was younger. And then this has been another challenge, and I think it's made me a better person, and it's made me realise what can be achieved. You know, sometimes in the army, I'll go and do a course, and I'm like, I'm on this course now, and I'll just put like 90% in, I'm not bothered. If I pass it, I pass it. If I don't, I don't. I'll see the army as a job more than a career. I love being in the army, but it was a job. I weren't really bothered about getting to like RSM or Sergeant Major or whatever. I just did my job, went on courses, I passed the course, happy days. Bit like a D's a P. So you can get A, B, C and pass, can't you? Or you can get a D, the lowest grade, but you still pass.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
D's a P. So for me, so why smash myself and try and get an A when I can just do what I've got to do, get a D, pass the course, happy days. But then since this has happened, that's been flipped on its head.
You want the...
Now I want to be the best person I can be every day. And I've realised that like life is short in it, and you only get one shot at it.
I think you realise that the older you get, which is bizarre, isn't it? When you're younger, you don't realise it, and then you get your 30s, 40s, think, I tell you what, I need to start doing stuff I enjoy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think, and start doing, and you start realising them little things you say when you're cutting about. People are listening, especially like the young kids, aren't they? They're taking these things in, aren't they? And you're saying negative things around your kids, then they're going to pick up on that, aren't they? And you try and be mindful to say positive things and do positive things around the young people, then it's going to influence their life better, isn't it? And you know, now I do this like motivational speaking, and I do it like for corporates and schools and things like that. And I go and do it in schools, and I walk away from that school feeling far better about myself than when I've done like a corporate gig, really. Because I think if one child changes their attitude towards learning, towards disability, towards goal setting, then I've achieved a great deal. And maybe if someone like myself would have come to my school when I was there, as that young punk who were messing about and being an idiot, and gone, no, if you just do that a little bit more each day, just an extra 10% each day, then you can achieve an whole lot more, can't you?
It's good to hear that when you're younger, because when you're younger, you remember anyone that was positive to you, don't you? Even when you were like 9, anyone that was nice to you, you still remember. Going into schools and hearing your story, I think will help quite a lot of kids.
Instead of watching Punch and Judy for the 10th time.
I love it as well, because you know, like in town here now, I'm like well known in St Helens, you know, I've done most of the schools in town, and going to Asda or whatever, and then some dad will stop you and go, hey, Andy, you won't believe the change in my son since you were speaking there. He comes home now, you spoke to him about goal setting, about prioritising, so he comes home now, does his own work first, then he gets changed, then he puts his Xbox on. Because I'll talk about being in the army, about cleaning your weapon, cleaning your kit, and then sorting yourself out last, or prioritising what's the most important thing that needs doing. And they're like, oh, Andy, he's made a great change in himself, it's unbelievable. And I'm like, thanks mate, yeah. And I walk away with goosebumps thinking, wow, just changed that kid's life.
Makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's better, isn't it? And I think you can go and do a corporate and get paid fair wage of money, and that's all very nice, pays for nice things, doesn't it? But if you just change a kid's life for the better, and now when he sees an old person, he might open a door or carry someone's bag in school, disabled kid's bag in school, or just works a bit harder himself each day, that's massive, isn't it? For me, they say things happen for a reason. I'm not a big into faith and all that, you know what I mean? But sometimes I think maybe these things do, and if you are inspiring people, then I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing, and it's great to be able to do that. It's great to be an opportunity to be able to do that, isn't it?
Well, the thing with setting goals and stuff like that, the fitness things that you've done since you come out of the army, because it could go two ways. Like a lot of people in your situation could just got one of these whiskey bottles, got that gun and shot seagulls, where you set yourself some fitness goals. And I think that's good for kids when you're saying about goals. And I think that people don't have anything to aim at, they just drift, don't they?
Yeah, I think, when I first got injured and I first woke up, it was important to set myself some goals and have something to aim for. So I've been writing to my cousin Carl when I was in Afghan. Said I've met this girl called Claire, she's absolutely amazing. When I come back from Afghan, I'm going to ask her to marry me. So when I come back and I kind of lay in the hospital bed, I thought, there's no reason that has to change really. You know what I mean? I could still walk down the aisle with Claire if I work hard and all the rest of it. So I kind of just put that there, the ultimate goal that I wanted to achieve. But then when you set that line there with like only one arm and it was all still strapped up and that, thinking, how am I going to do that? And it's quite daunting. And then one of the lads from camp come to see me and said, Andy, July 2010, you're going to get your operational service medal from the Duke of Wellington. So all the lads are going to be there. all the mums and dads and wives and girlfriends and children are going to be there. It's going to be an amazing day. He said also the boys are going back to Afghan in October 2010. So I thought, if I could stand that day out in a wheelchair, get me a medal off the Duke of Wellington, maybe march off the parade ground, then all the mums and dads and wives and girlfriends will know if their son or daughter gets injured, with hard work and determination, they can move their lives forward. So set that as a middle term goal. And then the doctor come walking around with his white coat on and his clipboard as they do, and got to the end of my bed and he's like, "Oh, I can't read, you alright?" I said, "I'm not bad, sir, yeah, I'm alright." I said, "But I was just wondering," I said, "when can I go home for the weekend?" And he's like, "What are you on about?" I said, "I want to go home for the weekend and spend some time with family and that." He said, "Well, suppose when you get off that bed into your wheelchair, out your wheelchair onto the floor, in case you fall out of it, and then climb back in your wheelchair again." He said, "We'll let you go home for the weekend." So that's fantastic. So I'm going home on Friday. And he walked away shaking his head. I just thought, "Oh, don't me, pal. For you don't know who I am. You don't know the strength of cancer I've got. You know what I mean? And how hard I had to work for getting in the army in the first place. I thought, this is not going to stop me achieving what I want to achieve." So that afternoon, I just got off the bed onto the wheelchair and then got down to the floor and back in again. And did it over like a number of days. But it only took me 10 days with these injuries before I went home for the weekend.
Since
being injured, yeah, 10 days. And I was at home having a Pimlick's pie.
I've had flu longer than that.
That's at home, yeah.
I've had man flu over 2 weeks.
It was quite quick, but I had no... It's strange, but these injuries are what I've got. So my arm had come off, they'd sewn it back together, sorted it, you know what I mean? Same with my leg, they stitched them up and that. I had no internal injuries, so I didn't have like a broken back as well, or a broken pelvis, or a punctured lung, or anything like that, what a lot of lads pick up. Other injuries as well. So although it was quite quick that I went home for the weekend, I was quite lucky that what you see is what it was.
Yeah.
Really. No, I still had like vax attached to me. I was still on like loads of medication and all the rest of it, but I had no other internal injuries. But I've got mates who like broke the pelvis, so then they've been laid there for like 6 months, not been able to go nowhere until the pelvis is healed, while they've lost like eyes and they've had other major issues going on. So in that respect, I was very fortunate really I was able to get home and spend some time with the family and kick on. And then from there, that's why I was that goal setting then just worked for me, just to keep on setting goals all the time and always have something to aim towards and something to go and do. And like the events that I've done, like climb Mount Snowdon, it took like 6 hours to climb to the top of Snowdon. I think most people do it like 2.5 hours, don't they? Maybe like 3 hours or something like that. But I didn't just wake up one day and go and climb Mount Snowdon. You know what I mean? At 8 months of training, walking up and down like Crankilly, biggest hill in St Helens, up and down there. And then I went halfway up Snowdon, then back down again about 3 times. So I knew that when I come to do it, I'd get to the top of the mountain. And I think, that's what it's about, is just like that goal setting for me all the time. I've always got a long-term goal, what I want to achieve, and an immediate one and a middle-term goal, and just keep chipping away at them. And I think that's what we spoke a bit earlier before, didn't we? And the lads leaving the armed forces, they don't really, they know they're going to do 22 years max, and they don't have anything past that. It's a bit like we said with the rugby, at some point 32, 33,
you've got to start having an eye on what's happening
next. They know they're coming
next.
to an end, only the career,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't have that extra thing in front of what they're going to do. And I think a goal doesn't have to be a year away, 2 years away. It can be what you're going to do next week. An immediate goal can be what you're going to do tomorrow. But I think it helps us move forward, especially through this COVID thing where everyone's going through into. This is a bit like the countries, but it's a bit like the Afghan we were in, but for everyone else, isn't it? You've all been through it. So when I can speak to my mates about Afghan, everyone can speak about the COVID experience, can't they? And that's what we should be doing, shouldn't we? Not bottling up inside about how we're feeling at the moment, what we're going through. We know we're blokes, aren't we? We don't speak about this stuff, but whatever you're feeling about COVID, you're probably feeling the same, and I'm probably feeling the same. So it's a common thing that we can speak about, can't we? About how we're feeling. I think that's what's been a big part of my journey as well, is doing my motivational talk that I do, and obviously writing the book as well. I'm doing these podcasts, which are fantastic. Offloads that information out of my mind. I'm talking about what happened that day. I'm talking about what happened to some of the guys who were with that day. So that helped me then be able to deal with it mentally and move on. And that's very important, isn't it, for people to do, is talk about what feelings that they're having to be able to move forward.
And the post-traumatic stress for a lot of army guys, isn't it? That's when they leave, that they just don't seem to get over it. And you do a lot of work with charity and things like that. Do you think the army could do more? Do you think they're doing enough?
I think it's one of them words, you join the armed forces a bit like I did from the north of England. 90% of the guys who joined the infantry who are frontline soldiers are from the north of New England.
Right.
So, Cumbria, Wigan, St Helens, Newcastle, Glasgow, these places where they've probably not had the best childhood anywhere. They may be from, a single parent family, stepdad knocked them about a little bit, they've seen their mum getting drunk or whatever they're doing, they've been not had the best life at school, maybe been bullied at school a little bit or whatever. So a lot of them are joining the army, I think, with the glass already are full of issues that young people from the north face. Not just the north, I shouldn't just say that. Obviously, inner city or London and places do have the problems as well, don't they? Of course they do. Every town and city in the UK has got its problems, haven't they? And these people join the army to escape that situation. And then maybe you've been in foster care and you've never really had a family, so you think, I'll join the army, that could be my family. But you're taking issues with you, aren't you, from your childhood? Yeah. And I think what we need to do is address those issues as we're joining and try and empty that glass. So then when we go to the places like where I've been to, you see friends get injured and you see friends lose their lives, your brain can then deal with them issues. Whereas for a lot of the lads, if the glass is already full, then they see something like that happen, then the glass just overspills, doesn't it? And then they just can't comprehend and can't deal with what's happened. But on that side, the army is getting better. There is charities out there. I work at a place called Leon House, a private clinic in Manchester that offers free mental health treatment for veterans and NHS services. I've just started my own Standing Tall Foundation because I realised doing these charity events, and over time I've probably raised about 300 grand for armed forces charities, and you send that off to that charity and it helps people, like they help me. I think if you take them from charity, at some point when you're fit and able and strong enough to, you should try and give back. I've had wet rooms, I've had decking, my driveway was done by charities to make my life a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier for me. So that's why I like doing charity events, to put money back in the pot that I took it from. But on the same note, St Helens got the highest suicide rate in the country amongst men. Right. And
it's always young men as well, isn't it?
1 in 3 people have got mental health issue. That was before COVID. So probably now everyone's got some kind of mental health issue. Haven't they? Anxiety, stress, depression. Everyone's got some issue now, aren't they, because of COVID. So I just decided to launch the Standing Tall Foundation and start helping people within my own community and the northwest. And wider, really, anywhere really. Do you know what I mean? But just
I think doing things like this, like you say, you're inspiring people with a wider reach as well, aren't you? Then so
just try and help people. It's just we don't realise sometimes how fortunate we are, do we? Like we say, we're sitting here in a nice man cave. I've got all these things around me, all my memories around me, the things around me. I had a veteran only about 6 weeks ago come to my office with his 15-year-old daughter, 3 days away from being homeless. A qualified plumber and carpenter, but for whatever reason, some things have gone wrong, and he's ended up sofa surfing, and they were getting fed up from being on the sofa. And everyone's got 2 paydays away from being homeless, haven't they?
That's what people don't realise. Everyone's sort of living on that borderline now. No one's got these massive savings in their accounts anymore.
I think it's a maturity thing. We've said about this before, haven't we? We've had the crack. You get to a certain age, and the realisation, it dawns on you, and you think, you know what, I'm having certain issues. Everyone's in the same boat. It's called life. Everyone deals with different things in their own different ways.
Life's tough, isn't it? Like, life is tough.
Yeah.
Whether you've got...
It is. But you don't realise that when you're young.
Or mental injuries or whatever. Life is just generally tough, innit? And I think speaking about what issues you are facing is very, very important. And taking time out to, have a bit of well-being yourself, spoken about a few times the last couple of months. It sounds a bit morbid, but I go to the cemetery During lockdown when it first started, for our hours fitness that we're allowed every day, I went to the cemetery with the kids. No one else was really there, so it was quiet.
Just while the pleasure beach was closed then.
Yeah. But there's squirrels kicking about, there's rabbits running around, you know what I mean? There's headstones there that you can read the names on. Someone passed away there 1850, and said to kids, imagine what do you think happened then, William, in 1850? Think they had like a car? Well, yeah, they might have done. They didn't have a car, mate, in 1850. You know what I mean? Electricity said it weren't happening. But I just enjoy walking around. There's a green space in it. You're in nature. You can see the change of the trees. You sit on a bench for a bit and just reflect.
Were you that way before the accident?
Yeah, I was living the dream, mate. I was like 33, had my own house, had a 750, chicks a motorbike, you know what I mean? Weekend millionaire. These things didn't. I just like living the life of being a single squaddy. You know, obviously before I only met the missus 8 months before I went over to Afghan. So up until 2008, I was like single guy in the army. That's why I could volunteer for whatever I wanted to volunteer for. I had no commitments. I had no kids. Obviously, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Go away for 6 months. Canada, yeah, sweet. No, it were mega. But yeah, only after since having the accident, then
you take stock a bit.
Yeah, you realise how easy life can be taken from you, don't you? You know what I mean? And you lose some very good friends and some close friends, and it makes you grateful for being here. You know, even with these injuries, I'm still thinking, oh, well, I'm still here. You know, and I'm sure their parents would rather their son, daughter be here with injuries than not be here at all. And I think out of respect for them, I've got to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, and obviously, you know, being recognised. You know, I got that MBE last year. You know, I don't know many other blokes me who get expelled from school at 13 and then write their own book and get an MBE. You know, but that's just because this changed the person that I was, and I want to be the best person that I can possibly be every day, and give back to charities like I say who supported me and inspire young generation to achieve more. And it puts you in a good position, doesn't it? No, I'm in a really good position, really good place at the moment. I'm not saying that mental health issues won't catch up with me one day. You know, possibly when I'm another 10 years or so, if I stop doing the speaking as much, and then you sit down and think kids aren't running around, you think, actually, what happened? What happened on that day? And who knows what's going to catch up with you? And they reckon, you know, there's guys now who's in the Falklands and in Northern Ireland who are now, it's coming to light, some of the things that happened to them, you know, 10, 15 years after the conflict they've been involved with. When life slows down and kids leave home, and it's like, I'm not doing the school run every day. I'm not running around like a maniac doing all this. All of a sudden you sit down and go.
That's why a lot of millionaires' kids and that go depressed, because they've got too much time on their hands. They've got no goals. They're just sitting there, got all the money in the world. Doesn't mean anything, does it? If you just sat there on your own with your
money brings problems, doesn't it? You know, I know a lot of wealthy people, and they're not all in the best place mentally, because other people around them are true friends, or they're just with them because of the journey that they can go on.
Yeah,
with them, you know. I'm still friends with Anthony, who we both went to Headmaster's office at 13, and then one of you two's leaving, and it was me what left, you know. But he's still my best mate. He works at Pilks, I've done all his life, and our friendship's not changed due to the circumstances that we're in. He don't look at me any different. He's Andy, the best mate from school.
Yeah,
and that's it, you know. And that's what I want people to just see, that I am Andy Reid from Fatter Reef, who joined the armed forces, and still that same person.
Yeah,
you know, it's probably me what puts pressure on myself a bit sometimes, because I feel I've got to be Andy Reid standing tall, and I can't. Let's say that mobility scooter there was hiding in the corner. I won't go to the Saints game in that.
Yeah.
Just because that's not the benchmark I've set myself.
Yeah,
I think people expect to see me, Andy Reid, standing tall, on my legs, up and about, doing it. So even like this last week, this leg been killing me, but I've been putting it on and going out and about, because I think that's what people expect to see. They probably don't, but I think it's not too bad to have that
mindset. It motivates you,
yourself,
doesn't it?
You know what I mean? But it can be detrimental to my own health. in some ways as well. But it is what it is, isn't it? You got, like I say, you got to get on with it, and that's, to me, not just get on with it, that's the wrong word nowadays, isn't it? To say, just get on with it. Some people can't just get on with it, can they?
But it's a good cure, what you've been saying, to set yourself those milestones, to just keep active and to enjoy life, I suppose, and to do something with it.
That's why COVID's been annoying, because people are like, oh, it's all right, we'll write this year off, we'll write next year off. You're like, you're not guaranteed next year. Do you know, to stop living your life like, oh, well, in 18 months' time we'll do this. You're like, you look at that Rob Burrow thing, I watched that and it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a guy that was as healthy as an ox 12 months ago. He's not thinking now, I'll tell you what, in 18 months I'm going to do this. And that's the mindset I think's weird with this COVID. People are like, I'd just give it 8 months. And you're like, if you're 19, you might not have.
You can't. I think you've still got to try and create memories now, haven't you? I think that's why, like, they say that's cemetery, but go there for your hours, fitness, and we were still doing things with the kids. You still, he learned to ride his bike during COVID.
Right.
So, for me, that's what, happy days, isn't it? You've not just gone, oh, mate, we can't do it now, but I'll teach you next year. So the boy's not going to ride a bike for another year. You got a bike there that you can't ride for another year, or just get out and get it done in a safe environment that you can do it in. You know what I mean? But it has been. I've got a place in Wales there, a little older place there. I've only been there 3 times this year, but I'm not thinking right, might as well sell it because you can't go again. You know what I mean? Whatever happens next year, happen next year. One, if we can go 4 times next year, it's one more time than we've been this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think we shouldn't stop. We've still been booking all these, and they've been cancelled, and we've booked another one for another date.
Yeah.
You still need to have goals, or you still need to have something that you want to achieve. And I think in some ways, like for myself, because I'm normally like out 2-3 nights a week at some hotel somewhere in London or Birmingham or somewhere doing these speaking events, I've actually been able to like put the kids in bed every night time and read them a story and bath them, because I've been home, and I've actually been able to sit in here and enjoy it rather than be away for 2 nights a week and not having the chance to be able to sit and enjoy the things that I work hard for, your family and your house and the nice things that you get yourself. So I think it's been a good opportunity for people to sit back and reset for some people and see and be grateful for what they have got around them.
You said you had a 2-year-old Andy, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm the same, and working from home, it's been, like you say, it's been a once in a lifetime sort of opportunity to see her grow and to be at home, and that's been the silver lining for me. But then, like you say, John, it's not everyone's got that, unfortunately. Not everyone's got anything going on. They're seeing the same 4 walls every day, and you need to have something to strive to do, don't you? It's just, it's Groundhog Day for a lot of people.
A lot of people don't like the jobs. A lot of people I know, I think there's a survey, like 95% of people don't like the job they're at. So that 2-week holiday is there like, I hate this, but that'll get me through, and take that away. And I think a lot of people are a bit like, well, I hate my job. Can't go out at the weekend. And I think a lot of people are just getting in that rut of like, well, what's the point? Especially young people, imagine being a young, single, 19-year-old Andy in your mum and dad's, and you can't go for nights out and stuff like that.
We were talking about working before we started filming, weren't we? And going out for nights out and enjoying a night out. It would be totally alien to a lot of these young'uns now if we started reminiscing and saying this is what it was like when we were younger. We enjoyed it, and they'd be like, you didn't even have to go in without a mask on. That's what they'll be saying in a couple of years, and I find it sad.
It is. It's a big change in it for a lot of people, and I'm quite fortunate we've got decent back garden here. But like you say, imagine being in like
high-rise
flat somewhere and a little balcony that you can go on and stuff like that. It is tough for people, isn't it? But I think the most important thing to do is speak about it, innit? And everyone, like I said, everyone's been through the COVID, haven't they? So it's not just you doing it on your own, doing it tough on your own. Your next one neighbours having the same feelings as what you're having, aren't they? You know what I mean? And I think as long as we stay within the restrictions, just do what you can to get out and get some fresh air and still create memories. Like you say, you got your 2-year-old there, you can be in the garden playing on the swing, can't you? And reading stories, having a bit of a kickabout, where normally you'd be off to work before the kids get up for school, and then they'd come back, maybe have a quick bit of tea, put them in the bath, then they'd be in bed.
Yeah,
exactly. You hardly see them, do you? Do you know what I mean? So I think
It's appreciating that new way of life rather than
a new way of life.
I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, that's probably the right word. It's like a new way of life, and the new
sort of, a lot of people are grieving what they did have, aren't they? Rather than
but they were good
still not the
times.
same.
It's not the same. It's not, I don't know. It's hard one, isn't it? Because it is going to be difficult for people, isn't it?
If I look back at this year, it's going to be getting fatter and watching Tiger King. You know what I mean? There isn't like, oh, what a year that was. So I think a lot of people are maybe in that. If you haven't got kids or anything like that, it's just been a bit like, it's like being under house arrest, I suppose. You know, like if you have one of them tags on.
Been tough, hasn't it, for people? It has been tough. No, there's no doubt in that. It's been tough, and I think, unfortunately, people probably will be more people will take their own lives due to COVID than what COVID's taken.
Yeah,
going down the line, because that's how tough it has been, and it people have lost a lot of things, haven't they? And they've been furloughed for so long, then lost a job at the end of furlough, haven't they? And it's tough, and I ain't got the answers for what people can do, but
I think, like you said though, what you're doing,
it's hard. I think you probably have to edit a lot of this out because it's.
I don't know.
We're discussing things, but we've got no solution, have we? I like to give people a solution to a problem.
Is a solution not what you're doing though? What you
just
continue
set goals,
to do,
isn't it, and stuff like that.
I think it is. I think it's having inspirational people like yourself for people to say, just to take stock a little bit and think, yeah, the grass, it is pretty green. I'm not in the worst place.
Yeah.
And
there's ways around things. I've not been able to speak to a live audience because of the COVID restrictions, but I've done a bit of stuff on the Zoom, on the Zoom speaking. So you just think about how you can do things, I suppose, rather than like I can't do that anymore. But what can you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my missus and the mates had like a quiz night via Zoom still. So they all still got the glass of wine out, and they all logged on at the same time, took turns asking the questions, and was doing a bit of a quiz and still having a drink. So still interacting with people, with the friends, not quite the same as being there. But
imagine if the lad's done that.
You wouldn't be sitting, would it? You'd be coming in here.
Just
got
be
the laptop on.
It'd just be a blank screen, wouldn't it? With everyone just
questions on there, yeah.
Before we wrap it up and that, did you enjoy VE Day? That was a day we drank from the morning. I think people that aren't in the army, that really gets you dead patriotic, doesn't it? You watch the Churchill speech and things like that.
Oh, this year's anyways, yeah.
Being in the army, do you watch that or you just, I'm part of
that? I can't remember what I did actually on VE Day. I think probably there are a few glasses of port. You know what I mean? It's my favourite. I've got a few bottles in there. My favourite drink port. So I probably had a few ports on VE Day. Yeah, Remembrance Day for me, obviously, it's coming up into it in about 2 weeks' time, isn't it? It's probably the only one day of the year that I wear a pair of pants. Me, most time I wear shorts all year round. Not to bring attention to myself, but in one way it is. If I say I go to London, I've got a pair of pants on, and I'm struggling to walk down the platform or walk up the ramp or whatever. People with pants on, see in London, they're just on their own shift, aren't they? And they probably just walk into you or whatever, won't they? Or think you've had a few beers in the afternoon, that guy trying to stack her about.
Yeah.
But if you wear shorts, and they can notice you've got false limb, maybe a bit more room to walk. Plus I can't take my shoes off, so I can put my shorts on over my shoes, so it makes things a bit easier. But Remembrance Day is not a day for me as an injured guy. It's a day for guys who paid the ultimate sacrifice. So that's the day that I'll wear a pair of pants and I'll wear my regimental blazer and my medals and just kind of stand in the background and think and reflect myself. It's a very, very important day for me. It's going to be very hard this year to not go down to the cenotaph in town and pay respect with my friends who I've served with. It's a day that probably about 10 of us will meet up at Wetherspoons at 9:30 in the morning, have a breakfast, have a pint, walk up to the cenotaph for 11 o'clock, have the service, and then expect me home when I fall through the door. You know what I mean? Because me and the guy are then telling stories and drinking ports, and we're out for the day, aren't we? It's a very important day in the calendar for any serviceman. So this year is going to be very difficult, I think, for a lot of servicemen.
Yeah.
But I think a day then when we can still take time, I think, to sit and reflect, and hopefully, I know a guy in the town here Steve Pulse, we've got a sticky wicket in town there. If you book in for a substantial meal, then you can have a few pints, can't you? So I know he's got about 100 lads, 100 veterans, what's booked in there for a Sunday dinner at 12 o'clock, and they can go down and put a bit of a distance parade on, and someone will say a few words, and lads can still get together. And so I think it's going to be very important to do that, isn't it? You know, there's a few key dates in the year that COVID can't stop.
Yeah.
Happening, I think. But obviously we've got to be respectful of the restrictions and what the local authority says do. But I think even at a social distance, we should still be able to stand and reflect and pay our respects and
definitely
put a poppy in your front window.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, I think one thing we've seen as well with this COVID is everyone getting on behind the NHS and getting behind, you know, these different organisations, and there's been a real collective, and that's been pretty nice as well. It's been another bit of a silver line. So you'd hope everyone in the next couple of weeks we start seeing these window displays with the poppies and remembering people, and I suppose remembering their own ancestors and their own people that they know as well, and you know, not just doing the minute silence and not giving it any more thought, I suppose.
Well, that's the thing, it's, you know, with the NHS thing, but what happens when people start clapping?
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. It's just
the thing,
then it's done.
You can go on your front doorstep, can't you, and clap all day long. And I've got massive respect for NHS. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for NHS. You know, that's really amazing. Which is one of the reasons why I set up the Standing Tall Foundation earlier, because I got offered free mental health treatment for NHS staff and care workers. So I thought, I'll launch the foundation 6 months early, because I can offer that service to them. And I think that's what needs to happen now, is people still continue to get behind the NHS just because we're not standing outside clapping and banging pans together and whatever. That's a bit of it's too easy.
That's a
too easy of a gesture,
gesture.
isn't it? But what we're going to do for our NHS?
So this is the point I make. Yeah, it's not just doing that minute silence and not buying into it, but actually appreciating what the day's for and exactly getting behind it, rather than the token. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. We need to.
Plus, it got out of hand, and it started off a respectful clap. Then
the NHS
all blasters out, and then started doing like
fireworks,
and at the end of the day, you know, NHS, like these nurses, you know, they're absolutely amazing young men and women, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they sign up to a massive amount of student debt to be a nurse, and then as a nurse, I'm not sure what figure. They're not on the best wages in the world, are they? You know what I mean? And then, you know, they don't get proper housing provision. The talk about veterans should be at the top of the housing register when they leave the armed forces. To be honest, veterans, if you've been in the armed forces for 22 years and you've not bought your own house and you've been drinking too much beer or driving too many expensive cars, you know what I mean? But these nurses should be given priority on houses, shouldn't they? As soon as they pass out of nursing college, it's like, right, bang, there you go.
I agree,
There's your student debt wrote off, and there's a deposit towards an house. Thank you for what you do.
Because they're putting their hand up to say, we're going to deal with trauma on a daily basis.
Forces, they're putting their hand up, aren't they? Exactly the same. So, like, they've got Remembrance Day, which is fantastic for us to pay respect to those who've made the ultimate sacrifice. Maybe they should have an NHS Day. That we have that day every year now, and it's a celebration of what the NHS do for us, you know, and I think that'd be a fantastic legacy moving forward, won't it? And then it'd just be, oh yeah, remember that time during that cover we were just clapping on his doorsteps? Oh yeah, I was in my 90, or I was in my like
you say, next door neighbour had a girl blasted out.
Service, isn't it? But what we're going to do for our NHS nurses moving forward, you know, in 8 months' time, or for a year's time, when this is finished, and then the NHS nurses go back to the job that they did before, and also this catches up with them of the COVID and the deaths, what they've seen, and the pregnant women who couldn't have their husband there, and all that kind of mental trauma that these nurses have been through. What we're going to do about that going forward, you know, because there's going to be mass problems for NHS staff throughout the whole, from the porter all the way up to the surgeons, aren't they? You know, and we need to do something about their mental health in the future moving forward, because they still need to be there to look after us, don't they? In 5 years' time, once this is finished, you know. And this is a bit like the conflict, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and things are happening that wouldn't never normally happening. You know, like say people are passing away and they've got no family stood at the side of the bed apart from the nurse, and she's got to deal with that grief.
Sad, isn't it?
She's got to be that last person that person sees, haven't they? Then they've got to go home then to their own family up, thinking they're safe. You know,
you don't want the legacy to be. Remember when my next door neighbour had his pan out, and banging away at his pan on it. A Thursday, you want something a bit more substantial.
There should be something, shouldn't there? Should be something like that, like Remembrance Day, maybe that the rainbow thing, and once a year we all donate to one of them, and it goes to NHS Mental Health Trust or something like that to look after them in the future. I think hopefully that'd be a good legacy that could come off the back of it, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I think my bin man probably needs a shout out as well. The local takeaway drivers round my end. I think I've kept them employed and they've kept me well fed.
Well, we've took enough of your time up, Andy, but absolutely class. And if you do, what's the big mountain in Cumbria? Scarfell Pike.
Scarfell Pike, yeah.
If you come and do Scarfell Pike, we'll walk up with you.
Oh, yeah.
Bring that gun as well, we'll shoot someone.
We'll shoot someone.
But anyway, cheers for your time, Andy.
No, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, been mega.
Cheers.
Cheers, pal.
Yeah.